Tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have you all please remain standing again? This is 2 months in a row, but I feel really bad. But I'd like to have a moment of silence for the victims in the shooting at the church in Texas. Thank you very much. All right, welcome everybody. Is everybody able to hear us okay? I'd like to start out tonight with a roll call of officers.
Supervisor Ron Alberico.
Here.
Assessor Debbie Mason. Here. Clerk Denise Rumchek. Here. Highway Commissioner John Shalinski.
Here.
Trustee Dean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Barb Boyce. Here. Trustee Barb Delaney. Here. Trustee Greg Pickus.
Here.
All right.
That's
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. All right, everybody should have in their packet the minutes of the October 2nd meeting of the Road and Bridge. I do need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You have the bills of $65,801.73. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Greg Pickus. Any questions of the bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Morelli.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Pickus.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Alberico.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bills passed. Any citizens wishing to address the board here tonight for the water department? Or, no, not water, the highway department.
If I may, Ron, so that I could do this only once instead of doing it at each one of the
Okay, yes,
meetings. Per the board resolution that was passed about 18 months ago, if anyone chooses to make any comments to the board, please keep the discussion to points or matters that are actually on the agenda for that particular meeting. Please keep the comments to no more than 3 minutes. Do not disparage any other person at the meeting, and there's no name calling that's allowed. If disrupting the board meeting, the supervisor may ask the offender to leave the meeting or to be escorted from the meeting. Board members may respond to the inquiries at a later date.
All right. Everybody knows the rules. I'd ask anybody that would like to approach the board and talk about the water department tonight. I keep on saying the water department. I don't know why. Highway department. Sorry, John.
No, it's okay.
Seeing none? All right, we'll go to the approval of the tax levy ordinance number 2017-5. The ordinance is in your packets. We did have a workshop on this. The levy amount is $1,493,000 and $1,493,890. I do need a motion to pass the tax levy for the road district.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. Any questions for the tax levy?
I got a question. Last year, did we have a surplus in the road fund?
No.
No.
Well, when you say surplus,
Surplus at the end of the year, we had monies left over in the account.
yeah, pretty much every year we have some money left over.
Okay. What's the cause for the increase of the levy?
Well, every year, when we make our budget, everything is line item out, and it's an estimate. And at the end of the year, we have X number of dollars, maybe, I don't know what it was last year. And every year, starting in probably this time of month, November, December, we get letters of material increases every year. Salt, we don't know really what the salt is yet until the contracts come in, so we're guessing on that. And the amount of roads that need to be repaved. I mean, I would love to have 4 times this budget. Like Frankfurt is actually $5 million budget for about the same amount of roads. So it's just trying to get enough money to do more and more roads every year. We actually have several catch basins that have collapsed that was kind of an emergency repair. So in that particular line item, we're going to be over this year, or we're going to overspend. So we have to borrow from another line item. But when we do like our payroll line item, you have to put enough in there so you're not short. So sometimes with the overtime, you're right kind of close. It's hard to explain. I guess the overages are from all the leftover from each individual line item. It's not necessarily that we have leftover funds that I'm not using, because if I could use them, I would. Another example is there's $100,000 I cannot use in a bridge line item. The Smith Road Bridge is scheduled to be rebuilt in 2020, and it's I can't remember exactly, $1.8 million project, and I did get a grant for that, but I still have to pay 20% of that. So in order to get the grant, they want to show that I'm starting to save that 20%, so that they don't give me the grant and then say, well, I don't have my money. So that's part of it as well. But it's a little misleading in my opinion, because you're taking chunks of money from each line item at the end of the year, so that's what you have left over. So I don't know if I'm answering your question properly.
That's a good explanation, thank you.
All right, any other questions for the tax levy?
Yeah, I have just 2 questions. One, just for the viewing public and our guests here this evening, what is the percentage that we are asking to increase this levy?
The percentage comes out to 4.99. Now, that's also very difficult to maybe explain. Our township is under a tax cap, so I can ask for 50% increase in the taxes, or the tax levy, the monies. That doesn't really, it affects the taxes, but it doesn't, everything's kind of a variable. But you only are going to get what the CPI is. In the last several years, the CPI has been 0.8, 0.7. So again, I can ask for 5%, and I'm only going to get the CPI. And so a great example of that is last year when the CPI came out at 0.8, that would have meant, I can't remember what Dave told me, $15,000 total in extra taxes, and divided by all the households in the community. I mean, you're talking $1 maybe increase. And like I said, if I ask for 50%, I'm still only going to get that $1 per household. I don't know, does that kind of...
Yeah, no, I mean, you explained that to me in the workshop. I just want, the guests that are here this evening, to be more clear.
Yeah, I mean, and actually it's a great subject. I love talking about this because it took me a while to kind of understand how all this stuff works. And also another good point is if you look at your tax bill, and I'll give you an example. My taxes at my house are $7,800 a year, and $109 of that $7,800 goes to the highway department. That's it. Besides mosquito abatement, I think I'm the lowest person on the tax roll. But yet I do have to buy tangible goods like salt on the roads. I have to pave roads. I have Bonnie Gray. The infrastructure in Bonnie Gray was built in the 50s. All their catch basins are made out of brick. And we just repaved a road there that was falling apart because of some water damage. And when they vibrated the road and compacted it, my catch basins are now falling in. And those were the emergencies I was talking about where things are falling in. So, you know, we can talk about, you know, a 4.99% asking for the levy and maybe getting 20 or 30 or $40,000 more, but yet it takes about 100 and I'm paving less than a mile of road this year. Riley Avenue should be getting started here shortly, as I talked about last year. That's been out for bid and already awarded. We're just waiting for them to schedule it. But I'm paving less than a mile of road and the bill is $192,000. So it, you know, it's difficult. It's a difficult task to juggle the little amount of money and the roads that need to be done. And I'm more worried really not only about the bridge, you know, paying for that, but I also, our equipment is getting older as far as the trucks are concerned. We've been fortunate enough to have that leftover money where we do invest in the loader and the boom mower broke. I mean, things are breaking. But last year, in just repairing our equipment was over $60,000. I put $60,000 in that line item, and I think we spent about $68,000. So our trucks are going to be needing to be replaced, and they're anywhere, depending on the model and the size of the truck that we need. They run from $175,000 to over $200,000 as a snowplow package type truck. I've got a truck with a big hole in the top from the 80s. I mean, there's not too many municipalities that have that. So, you know, to ask for $15,000 or $20,000 extra a year, I think it's justified. My rock prices, like when we go get gravel and things, you get a letter every year in February that it's going up 5%. And so I kind of have to keep up with that because I think the department as a whole, for the amount of money that we receive, is behind based on all the work that needs to be done. So I enjoy the challenge of trying to get projects done. We've made a great effort to pave a lot of roads with that extra money at the end of the year. So whatever's left over at the end of this year's budget, actually, a great example, last year, we had $300,000 left over from last year's budget. Every single amount of that, and we talked to the board about my budget, that all went into paving roads. And we had citizens here that, you know, came and talked about some of the roads that need to be redone. And so that's where that extra money is going. It's not like I'm not spending it, I just have to wait to see how much is left over, then we spend it the next year. Does that make kind of sense to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand, you know, where the money goes, why you need it and everything. I just wanted to clarify for, you know, if there's any people here that are, you know, concerned. Because I guess the question that I have, I guess, leading up to that is after we had our workshop discussing all this the other night on Thursday, an article comes out in the Joliet Herald News that for the third year in a row that the city of Lockport is lowering their tax levy. And I know there's a couple other government entities who are either holding the line on their tax levy or they're decreasing it as well. So I'm just trying to understand why Lockport Township just keeps raising it.
Well, we didn't raise it last year, actually, we lowered it a little bit. And then the previous 2 years, like I said, the CPI, we're talking $15,000 of a raise. I mean, it's $1 a household, but yet my expenses went up more than $15,000 last year with employees and raises and, you know, they repaired the equipment. I'm falling behind a little bit. Well, we've been behind for several years, but, and no fault to anybody, it's just the way the tax cap goes. So your question about the city lowering theirs, I can't answer that because I don't know the city budget so much. However, I can probably, you know, I don't know if they've been doing a lot of road work. I don't know what the reserves are. I have a minimal reserve, if any, and all those reserves are spent on roads the next year. I don't have any intangible things that I do that I could cut back on. I mean, everything that I do in my department, I can't speak for the township because they're separate entities, but everything that I do in my department has a fixed cost or a cost involved. I don't have anything where we have a tree program where I'm buying several hundred trees a year to put out on the parkways. You know, where I can just say, you know what, we want to lower taxes, we want to just hold off on those programs. I don't have that. Every program that I have in place actually costs tangible money: trucks, equipment, paving, salt, and that stuff goes up every year. And I'm, you know, like I said, with the equipment, we've got 8 trucks, and I probably need 6 of those replaced now, but you can't buy 6 trucks at a time because now we're looking at $700,000. So to get these little bitty increments, I think is a fair assessment. And like I said, when you look at the tax bill, I'm the lowest guy besides mosquito abatement, but yet I'm also buying all the tangible things that I have to have. I think we're doing a great job. And I appreciate the questions because I think that the general public needs to hear these questions asked and answered.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Vickers?
No.
Delaney?
No.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving on, we'll go to Highway Commissioner's report.
Yes, thank you, Ron. I pretty much did my report already, I guess. We awarded a bid to pave a couple of roads this year, so that project we're hoping to get started here shortly because the weather's turning pretty quickly. What else is going on? We've moved from no more chipping for this year, so we've moved away from the chipping and we're getting the plows on the trucks and we're doing the maintenance on all the plows and spreaders and painting. We're doing a lot of painting on those things. We like to put a coat of paint on that, keep the rust down as much as possible. As you guys can imagine, dealing with salt all the time. The equipment takes a beating. So we're just kind of gearing up for the winter time, and boy, I hate saying that. We've had actually a pretty good summer. It's been a crazy summer with really heavy rains. We don't get those all night, nice water the grass rains. It either comes down 6 inches in 20 minutes or we don't get any and it's dry and the grass is cracking when you're walking on it. One or the other, but we're making good progress. And the guys continue to work hard, so we're just looking forward to the winter, getting ready for that. That's all I've got now.
All right, thank you very much. I don't have any other business, unless there's any other questions you'd like to ask the Highway Commissioner. I would ask for an adjournment.
Make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second?
second by Barb Delaney. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. We'll go to general assistance. Everybody should have in their packet the minutes of the October meeting, October 2nd. I do need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney.
I'll second.
I got a second by Barb Boyce. Any questions in the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You have the bills of $6,871.30. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second?
a second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of the bills tonight?
Again, I have to bring this up every meeting, but this month we spent 85% on administration in this fund. On the fund that we had 4 applications processed this month. So that's
Your comment? All right, well, thank you for that comment.
$1,200 per application to look at an application. It seems like a waste of money.
Well, by law, I have to do it.
I understand.
can't not do
We don't have to
assistance.
spend, we don't have to
I'm
spend
not
that
going to
much
get into a
money.
debate with you here, Greg, but I do have to do general assistance. That's the first and foremost thing as the supervisor's office has to do. I have to do that. It does cost to have somebody hired to do that job. And I'm sorry, I have to pay her. She's been here 25 years, over 25 years, and that's the cost of doing business.
I have a question in regards to this, too, just to add on to Trustee Bickus. When do we start going over like our budget presentation? Because we weren't here, we weren't in our seats at this time.
Well, our budget year ends in February.
In February.
Last February.
So when do
So we will
we start?
start doing it in the first of the year, January. I'd like to try to get the budget. So we'll have another budget meeting, a workshop on it, and discuss everything with our accountant there again.
Okay.
We'll go through each line item.
Okay.
Line item by line. All right. I need a roll call for the bills.
Rico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Bickus,
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Any citizens wishing to address the board for the general assistance tonight? Okay, seeing none, I have no new business. You have your financial breakdown of the month. In your packet. The monthly, we have 4 that requalified, 1 that was denied. We have 4 general, no emergency general assistance this month. Unless there's any other question, I would move on to ask for an adjournment for the general assistance.
Okay.
I'll have to, yes.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second.
second by Barb Boyce. Any other questions on the motion?
Ron, I know you said you brought it up at the breakfast.
Yes.
Have you been contacted? I mean,
We have about 10, 12 things on there. I've talked to a few people that are very interested in it. I've been holding it off. I do have one person I want to talk to. I set up a meeting with her first to talk about what, she has a lot of experience in advisory boards and senior programming. So I'd like to have her be the lead on this. So I'll have a meeting set up with her next week. And I thought we'd take it from there and see what her ideas are, what our ideas are. Voting on that. Any other questions? Can I ask for a roll call?
Rico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Bickus,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the approval to let CASA use our township buses for an event that they're having. Everybody should have in their packet this little card. We did this last year. CASA is a very, I think it's a very good program. It's kind of close to our hearts. We have actually one of our board members, I believe, volunteered for CASA for a while. But what they do is they have a train that goes from Joliet to, I believe, Tinley. And at Tinley, they get off, and depending on the weather, it's in some of the 2 places that they have. It's within walking distance, I believe, but they like to have, for seniors with grandkids, use our bus. So they can bring them back and forth to the train and to the 2 different areas that they have set up for the fundraiser for them. They did use the bus last year, and I don't know if you remember, but about 3 months ago, I believe I read a thank you letter from them, and Rita Chino was here thanking us, and that, so she did call me with the interest of doing it again, so I put it on the agenda for approval tonight. So I do need a motion to approve the use of our bus for the CASA program.
Do you have a
I
question?
got one more. So we provide the driver for that too?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Basically, our donation is the driver and the gas.
Okay, yeah. Then our insurance covers this fully, okay, good.
Make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney.
I'll second.
I got a second by Barb Boyce. Any other questions? And that's for roll call, please.
Alberico?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
All right, I have no other really business in senior fund, except I did want to bring up the fact that our buses are getting closer to being done. I hopefully by the end of the month, we're going to have new buses. Other than that, I have no other business. I would ask for an adjournment.
I just have one question before we adjourn, since we're talking about the buses. A week or two ago, I had a couple Lockport Township residents give me a call in regards to the scheduling of the buses. I had contacted Michelle and spoke with Michelle. She basically told me the way the bus operates and how it operates at the hour between 7 and 3 o'clock. My question is, because I don't know if all the options are being left open, so to speak, since we do have 2 buses, if we could possibly maybe schedule one of those buses to start like at a different time, like at 8 o'clock to 4. Because I guess the concern was from one, and I'll give it for instance, was called to arrange to get picked up for a doctor's office, was able to get dropped off, but by the time the appointment was over, the bus service was done with the township, could not get a ride home. If we need to have our buses open like maybe a half hour or an hour early for operation, it'd be able to service more seniors who needed it.
My thought on that, and I know Michelle had talked to you about it, and she discussed it with me also. The whole idea of the bus service was to get people to doctor's offices and back
Right.
during the hours that their children are working. So, and during business hours. So basically our thought was, because we start at 7 o'clock and there are patients that we got to get to the hospital for dialysis, for heart treatments, for different medical issues, we start right at 7 o'clock and we get them there. And then at 3 o'clock, if we could bring you to an appointment, we would hope that your children or somebody that you know is off of work and can bring you back. As far as doing one bus, staying late, one start early, we would have the issue of crossing the bridge. The way we have it set up now, one bus stays on the west side, one stays on the east side. So it'd be that bus crossing over. It'd be a lot of scheduling, probably, issues with staying one late. Because then you'd have to cross that river 3 or 4 times at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If anybody knows how that bridge is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Lockport, that bus will be there for 3-6 hours.
Okay.
So that's why we're doing it this way now. I mean, should this board decide that it's, we want to go, we could go in the evening hours, but we'd have to pay.
I mean, only like an hour later. Like, I understand the situation with the bridge.
Yeah.
But like I said, maybe just to make it more accessible to all the seniors. Maybe, just one of the buses. Just consider.
What side would we keep it on? I guess it would be hard to figure. You have it on this side, and somebody needs it later, and this side, somebody needs it later.
Okay.
How do you,
That's Michelle's problem.
yeah. Which then falls on the township. Yeah. All right, any other questions? All right, I would ask for an adjournment from our senior.
I'll make the motion.
I get a motion from Barb Weiss, second by Barb Delaney. Thank you very much. We'll go into our town fund. All right, you have the minutes in your packet of the October 2nd meeting, monthly meeting. You also have in your packet the workshop meeting of October 30th. I do need a motion to approve the minutes for both those meetings.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
Second.
second by Greg Vickers. Any questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. You have the bills of $120,805.55. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of the bills here tonight? All right, hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Any citizens here wishing to address the board for the town fund? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. The assessor's report.
I only have one thing. I just wanted to thank everyone. We had a trunk or treat, the township sponsored on October 26th. We had a wonderful turnout, I thought. We had over 300 people here. A lot of the trustees had their trucks and trunks decorated, and we had almost every employee presented one. I also want to thank Cottonwood Farm. They donated 10 passes to their holiday activities there, and PSC in Rockville donated a box of candy, a big box of candy. I would also like to thank Barb Delaney for bringing in the witches and for helping me get through that entire night. I want to thank everyone who attended and everyone who helped with it. That's all I have to say.
And you are to be commended for your first year. That was a very good.
We did have good weather that night. We were very blessed, so.
All right. That all you have? All right, well, if you want to comment on that trunk and treat too, it was very successful, and I have nothing but admiration for the hard work you and Barb both did. Worked on that. Turned out really good. Way past my expectations. So thank you. We're looking forward to doing it again next year.
I liked your picture in the paper one.
Yeah.
Isn't that okay? Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, oh, shucks. All right. Moving on to the clerk's report.
So the board, we had a workshop and discussed the meeting schedule for 2018 for the board. And it was decided that it would be held on the second Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. here in the community center. So before you have all the dates listed there, April 3rd will be the first Tuesday of the month because of the annual town meeting. And in November, it will be the first Tuesday of the month because of Township Officials of Illinois seminar held in Springfield.
All right, does that need approval? Yes. Okay, I do need a motion to approve the monthly meeting schedule of next year.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Barb Boyce made the motion, Barb Delaney seconded it. Any questions? Hearing none, a roll call. I think we need it, but
Alberico?
yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Continue with your,
And also the approval of the members of the youth committee board. You do have a letter in your packet. Youth committee board on July 14, 2015, the board of trustees approved. And since then, many members have retired or have been assigned to different positions. So I have a list of the new members that are on the letter, and I'm asking for approval from the board for the youth committee members.
all right, I do need a motion to approve the members of the youth committee.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb, Greg Vickers,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any? Sure.
When does this board meet?
So because it was dissolved, we have not met at all because of the, so now that it's together again, I will have reports to the board when we do meet.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. I have nothing else to do, that's all we have, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of you. Let me finish your report.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that the township has had a large volume of FOIA requests. We have one requester that has had 27 requests since August, and a second requester that has 35 requests since January 1st. So that's just updating the board on what's going on with the FOIAs. The digitalizing in the clerk's office, we are still in the process of researching new programs that are most cost-effective and accurate for the township. We've had webinars, and we have a demo on Thursday for an impact company. So I will keep you informed and hope to have more information to you at the next December meeting. And also the website, the impact, the demo that we're going to, they also do websites. And I have been working with one of the employees here in the township on getting our website designed more user-friendly. So that's all I have, Brennan.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on, any comments or suggestions from the trustees tonight?
Well, once we start moving forward with the website, and you have maybe some information put out to the trustees also regarding, what's going on with that, what the website's requirements we're asking for the website.
So right now, Greg, just for your information, we've just been going online and looking at other entities. We did find out that Township Officials of Illinois does have a website designed, but it's very, very generic, and it would not meet our needs at all. So we're doing process of elimination right now, and then calling to see, you can go as far as large amounts of money spending on website designs to probably what we have right now.
Well, it's probably very important to get this done because it's going to help to increase our transparency. We can get a lot of this paperwork online, and it would be money well spent for the public.
And then maybe the board should decide on an amount that would be sufficient, or do you want me to get 3 amounts or 3 proposals?
Well, you know what, I'm sorry.
I was going to say I would get 3 proposals.
We're going to be at the TOI convention, and there are probably some vendors there that do websites, so we should probably look into those. I'll make sure that that's vendors I contact.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the building report. I just want to make mention that the food pantry is open now here in our building, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I don't know, I think they open at 8 o'clock till noon, 1 o'clock or something like that in the afternoon. It's been going pretty good. We had a couple of little bumps in the road as we're trying to get this thing together, but it's working out good. I'm proud of this township board for working so diligently with the food pantry to get them in here in such a short period of time. I also want to commend the volunteers of the food pantry that worked so diligently on putting that thing together. It was all done by volunteers and donations, and I think Lockport now has a wonderful food pantry that's doing a wonderful job for people. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the Limestone Theater Group is now using the building, trying to get prepared for their play that they're going to be doing in the early part of December. If you look up, you'll notice they did start hanging lights and everything. And they're doing all of that for us for free. There are our lights. We did, the church didn't leave the lights here when they left, but they took them all down. So this group is putting them all back up for us, and I'm going to get them up and working. So we'll end up with a pretty nice light show here. So the next meeting, maybe we can have all kinds of colors. But anyway, I want to thank them. I'm looking forward to their play. They're going to be doing It's a Wonderful Life. I'm hearing a lot of good publicity about it, what they're doing, what they're planning, and I hope everybody will come out and see the play. I think you don't quote me on this, I believe it's going to be the 8th, 9th, and 10th of December.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah, I might be wrong in that. I believe it is.
Where do you know where people get tickets for that?
You can get tickets, I believe it is online, Limestone, or Limestone website. I'm not sure if it's under Limestone Theater or Limestone Stage. I believe if you start putting it in, it should come up.
But not here, right?
Not here, no. I'm sure we can get you, if anybody that needs tickets, I'm sure we can get you to the right people. So call the office, my phone, 815-838-0380. Don't hesitate to call. We will get you into the right direction to get those tickets. Other than that, I wanted to bring up, the office ordered 2 defibrillators for the building here. I believe we're having a lot of senior stuff, a lot of programming going on here. I'd like to have a defibrillator in this room in case of an emergency. And since the food pantry is dedicated to a lot of seniors and a lot of people going through there, I'd like to put one on that side. So I ordered 2 defibrillators we brought in off of our programs line item. They're on back order. I was trying to get them here for the grand opening of the food pantry, but they are in back order. They should be 6 weeks, probably about 4 weeks now when we get them in there. So hopefully we'll never use them. It'll be just an insurance policy. But they're going to be coming up. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry I didn't put it in your packet, I do have here for everybody if they want to see it. I did get a quote from our security company. You got enough down there? To put 2 extra cameras in the building. I'd like to put a camera in this room, in this corner, so we can see for security reasons in the event that something happens. I'd like to have a security camera in here, and I'd like to have a security camera outside the door facing the drive coming in so we can see any cars that are coming in. I did talk to Quinlan when they came for the estimate on this and asked them to give me their opinion as if we're going to buy 2 cameras, where should we put them? That was their suggestion. 1 in this room, 1 outside. So I didn't make the order. I wanted to bring it to you guys first. I think I can take this out of projects. It's only $3,068. If everybody feels comfortable with it. If not, I'll bring it to the board next month. And we can actually vote on it.
Well, I'd like to see us get a couple other bids.
This is our, we'd have to get a bid from another company that would take a whole system over again. We already have equipment in our labs and everything.
Okay, so this company's taking care of what you have
That's
now?
all we already have now. All our cameras, we just added 2 new cameras.
Okay.
How many cameras do we have now?
4,
4?
I believe, right? Yeah, 4 cameras right now. So if you guys feel comfortable, I'll go ahead and order it. If not, I'll wait till next month and actually put it on the agenda to be voted on. We have it in line item, our projects line item, or the renovation line item.
I'd like to see it put on next month's meeting.
All right, that's
Do
fine.
you think this is exactly what we need, or do I'm not sure every part, but,
Well,
I mean, do we need more, or do we need more than this to make the system complete if we're going to?
I would like to eventually get as many cameras as, I want this place to be secured. I'd like to get one in the food pantry someday. In case, we never know what's going to go on in this building, who's going to come in, who's going to, It's already come in a couple of times handy, we've had.
Do we have if it would be good to maybe have one of these guys sit in are these cameras being recorded? Or are they just somebody just watching them? Or?
Well, they're being constantly recorded. They're a motion sensitive camera, so at night they're off. But if somebody comes in view and they motion, they kick on, they can record any motion in the building, and it's recorded, and we can go back in the history and check out I think we did have, we've had the cameras already, see some people doing things in the building that shouldn't have been done.
Like if they, like you said, putting one out front, direction towards the road. I mean, is there a way they could put it on the side or see the road and the garage together, or would not cover that area?
Well, I thought it, and the discussion with the security guy from Quinlan was that if there was some damage to the garage, they'd have to come through there first, because there's only one way in, one way out. So if we're going to put one camera out first, it'd probably be best watching the front. Now, someday I would like to get another camera on the garage itself, you know, but I always kind of think baby steps. Let's see what's, you know, we're doing okay now. We'll get 2 cameras this year, we'll get 2 cameras next year, we'll see how it goes.
Well, my main concern is that owner of business, I had vehicles broken into. I had security cameras there. They weren't fine enough resolution, but I couldn't see the license plate of the car coming down the driveway. So let's make sure, especially the one out front, that it's fine enough for resolution to see the license plate.
Yeah,
So have a guarantee that we could be able to see a license plate coming in out of that driveway. I normally display license plate, but I mean, you'd have it.
I don't know if you're going to get a guarantee, but I would definitely,
Well, I mean,
that would be one of my requests.
you know, at least,
They are pretty high quality.
They are pretty high quality.
Yeah, they zoom in and at least the ones we have now. And
Okay.
They're going to be comparable.
okay, I just,
Or better.
yeah, I mean, it's happened to me, I had experience with it, and I couldn't see the license plate.
Cameras we have now are pretty high quality. We, you know, I was able to tell exactly who was coming through the front door doing some things that should have been done, and we were able to take care of it just like that.
Okay.
It's pretty high quality. So I'll put that on the agenda for next month then. I guess we'll vote on it. All right.
One more question. It says, is this another recorder do we have a recorder, or is it the one we have doesn't handle enough cameras? Because it looks as if we're adding another recording device. It says 2 ExactView Vision NDR. Are those,
You got cable.
I don't want to tear this thing apart, but it does seem like we're adding another record, the NVR would see video recorder to be, but
Where do you see the video recorder?
well, what is the 2 ExactView Vision NVR? 20 terabyte. That seems like a DVR to me.
No, I believe that would go into our system, but I can ask them about that.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. That's all I have in the building. I'll go on to new business. We have the approval of the Lions Club fundraiser, candy fundraiser that they do. This is a new one. We've never done this before. I did get a request. It should be in your packets. It was from Mike Tierney, I believe, and Ron Cornola, the president of the Lions Club. They do a fundraiser every year, handing out candy at corners. Candy costs about $90 a case, and so any contribution would be appreciated. They asked me if I would ask the trustees to support that. I told them I'd put it on the agenda and see where it goes. So it's really, I would take a motion if somebody feels they want to do that, or not.
So what are they asking for a contribution for the $90?
They didn't specifically say. They said they would take any contribution, would be appreciated. I would suggest we buy a case of candy for them.
What have you donated? Have you donated them in the past? for
No,
anything?
the first time.
ever? Okay.
Do we have any specific criteria as far as giving donations to charitable organizations?
Well, you know, if they, it's been, I guess it's been, there's no real criteria. If they send me a letter, I bring it to you guys, and you guys feel comfortable with it, we'll do it.
I think that's the attorney. If we give to one group and another group comes and we don't give to them, is there any repercussions for us? No?
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess I would make the motion for the first year, to buy one case of candy as a goodwill gesture.
Okay, I got a motion on the table for $90 case of candy for Lions Club.
That's for next year, correct?
Well, we'll send the check now, because I think he said it doesn't matter when we get it, you know, he said, I know we already did the fundraiser, but,
Yeah.
because I told him the meeting wouldn't be until after the fundraiser, and they said, that's all right, we'll still take the donations, so.
I'll second it for one case.
I got a second by Barb Boyce. Any other questions? Can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce, Morelli,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Bickes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right. Next on the agenda is our approval of our tax levy ordinance of 2017-6. This is basically the same tax levy that we did go with the highway department. They do their levy, the township does the general assistance and the senior town funds. The levy is in the amount of $1,878,366. $1,878,366. I would guess ask for a motion to pass the tax levy.
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
a second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of the levy?
I have a comment regarding the levy. Looking over the budget for last year, first of all, I'd like to thank the administration for sticking to their budget constraints for this year. By my calculations, we're about 2/3 through the fiscal year, and all the budgets are under half the appropriated funds for this year. So that should leave us money to be carried into next year. So I think at this time, it would be irresponsible of us to increase the levy by 5%, the maximum allowable percentage, without a referendum. We're not spending the amount we receive on a yearly basis. Our town fund has current assets totaling over $2 million. Our expenses should be decreasing. We've got a new building that our maintenance fees should be going down. We don't have to pay for a lot of improvements here. Our general assistance fund on a monthly basis costs us 3 times more for administration, the amount of assistance. That general assistance fund should be cut down a little bit.
I don't think you can cut it down less than $7,000.
In most townships, can you let me finish before?
All right.
In most other townships, this duty is performed directly by the supervisor. If this was done by our supervisor, which means processing 3 to 6 applications per month, I don't think it takes that much time to do that. Maybe you've got somebody to write the checks for you there already. It would save the township over $60,000 a year. Our assessor's office has the most employees of any township in the surrounding communities, 13 to be exact. And then I came here on Halloween around 3 o'clock to do some volunteer work. I walked in, there was nobody in the building but 2 to 3 people. I asked where everybody was. Everybody left early for Halloween. Do we really need all these employees if they don't have time that they can go home early on Halloween? We need to start tightening our belts and work within our means. When I was growing up, I was always told to not take more than you can eat. And we need to go back to the drawing board on this referendum, or on this levy, and find out what we really need. Requesting the maximum amount allowed without a referendum is not being transparent to our constituents. That's all I have.
All right, any other comments?
Ron, I just would like to clear something up if I can, just so I'm clear on it. I know, like, John, what you asked for and what you actually get. Now, my understanding is a lot of it is based certain amount, but that's not, you don't get the 0.5% or 5%, 4.99, whatever it is. So am I missing something? I mean, as far as like what we ask for and what we actually get?
No, basically our tax rate has gone down the last 3 years in a row. We ask, at this point in time, we ask for the 4.9% every year. In the last 2 years, after the calculations are done by the county, we come back to sit down, and we have lowered it at that point in time, the last 2 years in a row. This is just basically, you ask for the top, and basically all you get is the CPI, and then we can lower it even farther from that, which we've done the last 2 years. So this is just a formality. We have to pass a tax levy by December 2nd. I mean, if we don't pass a tax levy, then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we get no money for the year.
And also
Tax levy, we don't get anything.
the
So we have to
correlation.
pass it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt when you're done.
So we have to pass some kind of a tax levy, I believe. So this is what we've done in the past, and then after we get the calculations in March, early April, then we revisit, and we have lowered the last 2 years in a row. So
The tax levy is a correlation, or the tax rate is a correlation between the, like, in other words, we ask for a certain amount of dollars that we need, and then depending on the assessed value of new homes, there's a whole big calculation. Then you get your tax rate to get that money. What Ron's saying is then you can choose to lower it. Like, I asked for the exact same money last year as the year before. And because the tax rate or the assessed value of certain homes or areas went up, the tax rate went up. So technically, even though I asked for the exact same money, I would have gotten more money if I didn't lower that tax rate to meet what I was asking for. So it's a big combination of things. It's to explain the actual calculations would probably be impossible. I think Deputy Mason you could probably, I don't know if you could explain it better, but the assessed value has something to do with taxes going up, down, or what we receive. I shouldn't say, it doesn't necessarily lower or raise your taxes because it depends on new developments and things. But it's a whole big, there's still an opportunity for us to lower the tax rate and actually get less than the CPI is required. So it's really just a general formality to ask for the 4.99, which you can still adjust it later on.
Yeah.
But if you don't ask for the 4.99, and let's say, I'll give you the example of that bridge again. I have to come up with 20% of that $2 million bridge, $1.8 million, which is roughly $400,000. Well, if they do construction in 2020, and I don't start planning now to pay for that bridge, I don't know where's the money gonna come from. You guys aren't gonna give it to me. You're not gonna have that money to give to me. I've gotta get it somewhere, and if that bridge doesn't get repaired, it's already on the watch list for lowering the weight limits at this point and also closing the bridge. Well, there's 7 or 8 school buses in the morning, 7 or 8, or 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and some, I can't speak for your levy, my levy. I have to kind of plan ahead. The infrastructure is falling apart. So somebody's got to pay for it, unfortunately. And the fact that I'm the lowest one on the tax bill, to ask for the $4.99, I'm not embarrassed. I mean, my materials go up every year, and asphalt is mainly petroleum based. So I mean, you're planning ahead for everything. I can't speak for your levy, but to answer your question on the tax rate, we don't know what the tax rate's going to be until it comes out, and then we can adjust from there.
any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Delaney?
No.
Trickus?
No.
Boyce? Yes. Morelli?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, thank you. The only other thing I have in new business, I did want to bring up the point of coming up at the end of this month, I believe it's November 25th, We'll be doing the Christmas in the Square, the Central Square building. So it's a fun time. It's, I believe it's noon to 4. I believe Santa Claus will be there, the real one this time. And we'll be doing a tree lighting ceremony around dusk. And I know I'd like to invite our whole board to be there again this year.
What day is it?
I believe it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 25th. It's always a fun time. Make sure bring your kids and families out there and enjoy it. Hopefully we'll get some really good weather on that. I have nothing other than that. In new business, we'll go to old business. I have nothing to vote on in that. I do have, everybody should have in their mail received the newsletter. If you haven't received the newsletter, call my office. We'll get one out to your house. But it should go to every house, every resident in Lockport Township. It's full of a lot of good information of what the township does. Other than that, I have nothing other than old business, except I did have a trunk or treat written down to discuss that. Again, one job you guys have done on that. That's all I really have under old business. Under new business, under meetings and correspondence, I did receive, and I put it in your packet, the Northern Illinois Food Bank sent me a letter, said we are happy to report that we signed a lease on an 18,000 square foot facility on South Larkin Avenue in Joliet. The South Suburban Center will be housed in the former cooked food location. So I know we donated money to that, geez, a while back. I just couldn't tell you the exact date, but now that the facility is going to be a little closer to our area, I think we'll get better service from for our food pantries here in town. So, want to let us know that they finally came through with that building they promised us. Other than that, I did receive a thank you note, a couple of them actually. This month this is dear Michelle and Jackie and staff. I want to thank you most sincerely for the new walker. It works perfectly. It's going to be hard to read. I am grateful for the time and concern shown by each and everybody at the township. I sincerely bless you, bless each and every one of you. That was nice. We got her a new walker. Her walker was kind of beat up. It wasn't working real good. And one of our staff members noticed it and said, we can get you a better walker. And she really appreciated that. The other one is Mr. Alberico. Thank you for a wonderful breakfast on October 2nd. This is my first time attending and hope to come back next year. Thank you and God bless you. So we do have people appreciating what we do here in the township, and it's always nice to hear from them. They do appreciate our staff. I have nothing else for the meeting tonight. I would ask an adjournment, unless anybody else has something.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barbara Laney,
I'll second it.
second by Barbara Boyce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening tonight.